Hello, everyone. We are now taking you to Washington in this special and exclusive STH English episode, where we will be joined by Mr. Barry Donadio, who will be sharing with us his perspective on what's happening between India and Pakistan and the overall situation in the subcontinent. Barry, thank you very much for being with us. Let me take your view first on Indian propaganda campaign. Obviously, they're trying to amplify their message, but is this message resonating with the international community or the circles that you are tuned into and where you move around? Are they bending their ears to what the Indians are saying? That's what my question is.
So what I'm seeing is a huge propaganda effort on both sides. Both countries seem to have this going on right now. I did review the last comments of Shahbaz Sharif in Iran, which, in my opinion, seemed to be very compassionate, seeking peace, trade, and working against terrorism with its neighbor India. When I look at recent comments from Modi, it seems to be an angry, charged talk to his political constituents against Pakistan. This type of rhetoric obviously not helping the peace process between Pakistan and India right now. But, I also saw Prime Minister Sharif meeting with the leader of Turkey and the leader of Azerbaijan. Obviously, Turkey is a NATO ally. So this is a good sign towards peace in the region and towards peace with India and Pakistan. But as you know, both sides, like in any short conflict that we have just seen between India and Pakistan, there is propaganda being played on both sides. And it seems like a huge campaign on both sides right this moment.
Look, I'm the first one to acknowledge the fact that just as truth is the first casualty of war, propaganda is the first product of or child of post-war scenario. But let me get your take now on the stand that Trump administration has taken on the war between India and Pakistan. The American president went out of his way, deployed all the resources at his command to prevent this dangerous drift towards nuclear holocaust, a terrible, terrible situation, as he called it. Seeing from that angle, when you look at the angry India profile that is developing from the statements that you mentioned, are you sanguine that this ceasefire, which has been brought about with much effort, will hold ground? Or is it just a temporary pause before something else will happen and the anger is going to be out there trumping the Trump administration's ceasefire efforts?
Yeah, as far as the Trump administration goes, my take on this is that the Trump administration wants peace. We look at this conflict as two allies that are fighting each other, and that's something nobody wants. They don't want their two friends arguing or fighting each other. The United States needs India as well as Pakistan. Pakistan has been an extremely important player in anti-terrorism. We heard President Trump thank Pakistan for giving us the Abbey Gate bomber, handing him over from the bombing in Afghanistan. That's extremely important. And for the President of the United States to mention that about Pakistan is extremely important, and Americans heard that praise. So, when we look at India and Pakistan, both countries are very, very angry. This whole conflict really started over terrorism. Now, my personal belief, based on what I have seen, to what I know to this moment, I don't believe that the April 22nd attack was brought on by the government of Pakistan. I do not believe that Prime Minister Sharif said, hey, go and do this on April 22nd. I think the Indian authorities read this as maybe that it was a potential, and that's why you see anger on their side, which led to their attack on May 7th. What a mess, but really what this comes down to is terrorism. Both countries have to work very, very hard together to stop this ideology, this terrorism of, hey, going and killing people because they don't believe in what you believe. So I do understand that Pakistan condemned the April 22nd attack, which is very important. So in a conflict like this is very complex. It is very hard for anyone to understand. Shots have been fired, planes have been shot down, missiles have been fired. It seems like we're in a better place now than we were in May 7th. And this has everything to do with also the efforts of the Trump administration. And I would not be surprised if China may have played a role, because I don't think they want conflict either, and the potential for nuclear exchange in their backyard.
Look, I get you. I can tell you that sitting here in South Asia, nobody wants to have a nuclear war prospect hanging over one's head. And when I say this, I speak not just for Pakistan. I'm sure I'm speaking for a lot of sane voices in India as well. That being said, and let me also mention, by the way, that we are in close proximity to the Middle East, which has its own problems, and these problems have a tendency to come towards us. Then we also have close distance continuity with Ukraine and Russian conflict as well. Africa has its own problems. Tariff wars are going on. Climate is changing. So a million things are happening. And we don't want to be battling it out with a nuclear adversary at this point in time. You mentioned Pahalgam. It's a very important incident. As we speak to each other, there has not been any progress in terms of investigation of this incident. Should there not be a transparent investigation into this incident? And if that is the case, how will it resonate with the international community? What will be their response?
Yeah, I think any investigation should be welcomed by both sides. Speaking of the April 22nd attack, if there's an open investigation to that, welcomed by Pakistan. Pakistan, the government itself, I don't think has anything to hide. This was a rogue group that probably did this, that really operated under the radar, and the government potentially did not know as a whole what was happening. If I was the government of Pakistan, I would welcome that, to show the world their innocence. And again, I find the words of the Pakistani leader Sharif to be sincere. I don't think he's going to go up on a stage and at a press conference with the leader of Iran right next to him and say, hey, we're serious about peace, trade, and counterterrorism, if India is serious about it. Right now, India is angry because of the terrorist attack. I would compare it to the September 11th, 2001 attack on New York. And me being from New York, I was angry at that time. So, India seems to be right now very, very angry. And I think until cool heads start to cool down, and then both countries can come to a peace, work against the terrorism, and live together. And of course, trade, very, very important. And I think also that's probably what the Trump administration had brought to the table. As we all know, Donald Trump's big priority is peace and trade. So we'll just have to wait and see. We're still kind of early from the conflict in May 7th, and hopefully we'll be done with it. Hopefully it's done, and then these two countries, Iran and Pakistan, can move forward working together instead of having conflict.
Look, all human lives are precious. You mentioned 9/11. 2,996 people died in that terrible earth-shattering incident. In Pahalgam, 26 plus 2 were killed. Just to give you a number, in Pakistan, 60,000 people have been killed by terrorists. And those who have been maimed for life, their numbers run into over 200,000. Pakistan has suffered billions of dollars worth of damages. I'm not trying to make comparisons and try to say that Pakistani losses are more than other countries' losses. We are all there to mourn each human life lost. But nobody talks about condemning the terrorism inside Pakistan. School buses, girl students were attacked, 10 have been killed, mosques have been attacked, bazaars have been attacked, civilians have been attacked, polio teams have been attacked, you name it, and every target seems to be kosher as far as terrorism is concerned. And this terrorism network, we have this guy Kulbhushan Yadav in our custody, who ran Indian-funded network inside Pakistan, and there are many other examples that I can cite to prove that India is running this terrorist network. But nobody condemns that. So I'm just wondering, shouldn't there be an equal condemnation of all forms of terrorism done by all countries?
Yeah, I mean, you spoke of a lot of events that aren't told in international media, and I think Pakistan, it doesn't have to do propaganda. All Pakistan has to do is tell the truth and let the world see that Pakistan too is a victim of terrorism. They're not for terrorism at all. And these are terrible stories that you shared. And I'm sure if the world hears the fact that, Pakistan is also picking up the victims of its, being a victim of terrorism itself, I think the world will have a compassionate view towards Pakistan, and also letting India know, we too are victims of this same terrorism that occurred on April 22nd. Now, I'm not certain 100% with the government of Pakistan. Some of the regions in Pakistan may be hard to have oversight over, or over with the government, to where it may have allowed some terrorist groups to be able to flourish. That I'm not certain, but I think the strong, concise release of the truth from Pakistan will help its situation in the world standing, and letting the world know, the international community know exactly what is going on. And then assurances from Prime Minister Sharif, which would show that they are devoted to stopping terrorism, clear and concise actions against terrorist groups. And India also, I'm sure India has groups within it that, maybe they're not even aware of, that can, perpetrate such acts as well. Both countries can share information to stop what I really look at as evil. Overall, it's evil. I don't find the government of Pakistan evil, and I don't find the government of India evil. These are two countries that have disagreements, but if they work together to root out hunger, root out evil, the true evils against mankind, these countries will work together. They will be able to coexist together in peace without any of these problems.
On this hopeful note, we close today's exclusive STH English. Thank you very much for watching.